Well, here we are again. Each week it just keeps going faster and faster, especially with these Friday games back to back. But we're off to New Mexico this week. Coming off a tough loss at BYU at home. We did some good things that night. Obviously, we talked about it after the game a little bit. But you go back and watch a film and reflect a little bit. And it comes down to early in the game taking advantage of getting the ball down there. I think we had a 1st and 10 at the 22 and a 1st and 10 at the 17. So it's been a point of emphasis this week, making sure when you get down with those opportunities, you put points on the board because you end up chasing those all night. Defense came out, played well early on, and we kind of got a little stale for a while. There was 5 possessions in a row where they were able to really move down the field and put points on the board. So talked about that a little bit. You got to get some stops in crucial situations. So like the way we're throwing the ball down the football field. It's good to see that part develop. It's been tough sledding a little bit running the football. Lex, he gets his yards and finds his opportunities, but I think it's important down these last 2 games, especially going into this New Mexico game, reestablishing the running game. We want to really do a good job of getting multiple guys the ball, being able to run the football, and add that to the passing game that we've developed. So I think those things are really key and crucial going into it. New Mexico, there's a team that won 9 games last year, having a tough year this year. They've got, I believe, 21 seniors on the team, so those guys are going to be fired up and playing for pride. I believe it's their last home game, too, so it'll be senior night for them. So it's important for us to go out there and be in the right state of mind. And, I talked to our guys after practice today about at the end of the year, you got to play fast and you got to play physical. Difficult to do sometimes when you're banged and bruised, but I think the perspective is everybody you play is feeling the exact same way. So you got to have a better mindset, greater intent. You got to go out there and, again, play fast, play physical, play intelligent football, win the turnover battle, and you got an opportunity to win a football game and move on from there.
What do you think the issue's been in the running game the last 3 weeks?
Well, again, the line's changed a little bit. You've had some injuries. Different guys, have rotated in, with Caldwell going out. And, I think Johnry's done a really good job at center this year and just continuing to battle at that spot, deep into the season. It gets tougher and tougher. And, again, we've played some, pretty decent fronts. When you look at BYU, their nose guard was a disruptor. He was pretty darn good. Number 16, their linebacker, is probably as active as the linebackers we've seen all year against any team. So it was a decent front we went up against. To move the ball against those guys, you got to be able to put it in the air, and, that's what we were able to do. But, I think, again, as the season goes on and you start shuffling a little bit with the O-line, and it kind of wears on you a little bit. But we've still been productive and been able to run the ball at times. We've just kind of dedicated a little bit more to throwing the ball, especially on early downs.
And do you think, in your opinion, Lex is running the same as he has all year? Have you seen any slowdown from him, or do you think he's still
Well, I don't know if he's got as fresh of legs as he did at the beginning of the year, but I think most backs, go through that. But he's pretty dynamic. You see some of the plays he's made on the goal line, last couple of weeks, bouncing things outside. Had a real nice long run against BYU that got tripped up. So he's still doing some special things. I think just the wear and tear of the season that all the players go through is kind of on him like it is everybody else too. So is he kind of running that same 40 he was week 1? Probably not, but I think the guys he's going against are in the same situation he is.
Coach, as a competitor, what's it like to be in a must-win game to get your goals?
I told that to somebody earlier, in the week. I said, if I had $1 for every time we played a must-win game, I'd have a bunch of dollars right now. They are. You're right. It's college football. Every game's a must-win game. It really, really is. Because you never know where they're going to come back later in the season, what your overall record's going to end up being. There's a lot of implications week in and week out. But now you get down to the end of the year, and you have 2 to go to become bowl eligible, and that's a goal that we have this year. So you can't over-talk about it because you got to focus on New Mexico, and you don't need to make it bigger than the 4 quarters you got to play. But I know that every one of our players thinks about it. So it's important for us to go out and, just be fundamentally sound, play fast, play physical football, play well on special teams, execute at a high level, and really bring a sustained level of energy that you need for 4 quarters to win a college football game.
It is kind of a playoff feel to it, and it's you got to win this week and then win the next week.
No doubt about it. Yeah, your back's against the wall, and you know that if you win 2 in a row, it does a lot of things for you. You still have an opportunity to finish second in conference, second and third, which is a big deal for us. It's an opportunity to beat everybody other than San Diego State, on your side of the division, which we haven't done here in a long time. I think Mark told me winning 3 conference games in a row. Is that correct? It'd be the first time since 1994, and I was a junior at New Mexico State playing football. That's a long time ago. So there are a lot of things out there, but I think if you ask the players, once they run out there and the play is called, they're not thinking of any of that stuff. They're just literally fighting their tails off to execute. So it is something that I think motivates you, gets you going for practice, kind of gets you going and making sure the guys are coming in and watching film. I saw Mike earlier today when I was walking down the hall, and him and the whole D linemen are in there watching film, watching practice from today. So I think those things motivate the players to put in a little bit more effort. But once you get out there, it's literally lineman assignment technique and playing with fanatical effort.
You played some of your best football on the road and all facing adversity. Is there something about being able to focus in those situations?
I've talked to the team about it quite a bit, and I really believe there is. There's a lot of distractions at home. There's a lot of people around, people in the crowd, stands, family, friends, and those are good things. And we got to do a better job of being mature and understanding how to eliminate that during game. You should never consider or think about any of those things when you're out there competing. When you're on the road, those things don't really exist. It's just you. Everybody who's on the road is suited up and playing and, booted and suited and ready to go. There's a different mindset in the locker room. So, again, it's one of those evolutions here, of building a program, of doing a good job of eliminating distractions at home. On the road, we're locked in and we play really good football. So I expect to do that again. And, hopefully we can continue that trend that we've started as of late.
And the players, what I just asked your coach, basically, I guess, adding to what he had just said.
The focus you have on the road and also just, adverse situation, whatever Tom Ross responded well to this situation before.
Oh yeah, most definitely we'll have to handle home games a lot better. We don't have any more for the rest of the season, but my take on away games, I feel like just the unity of us being against everybody else there, that kind of gives me a little bit of motivation.
Yeah, I feel the same. When we go into the huddle after our little pregame warm-up and all that stuff, we always say, you got my back, I got your back, and all that, and it's always just the team against that entire stadium, so it's just a different environment.
What is the status at quarterback for this week?
Both guys are healthy and ready to go. We're getting both of them reps, so don't be surprised to see either or. They'll both most likely play in the game, but Johnny's done some good things. He had some struggles down the stretch with some decision making, but he made a lot of really good throws. This is a different game, like I said. These are really got to look at them. The opponents are playing. What's our schematic game plan to go in this game? There's going to be more quarterback run opportunities than there was last week. We knew there wasn't going to be a lot of quarterback run opportunities against BYU. I think you'll probably end up seeing both of them. We're working through it throughout the week and developing a game plan we think is going to give us the best chance for success. But they're both ready to go.
Would you say it's more game plan specific for that position for the rest of the year? Like whichever guy you feel like gives you the best chance to win against that particular defense?
Yeah, you know what? I really think it does in all positions. It's one of those deals where whoever's going to give us the best chance, we're going to go with. So we've got a plan, and it'll present itself on Friday night, and then we'll go from there.
Stay with Johnny as a starter, or has that been determined?
We haven't, or it hasn't been determined yet.
Mike, New Mexico's been broken, as far as their spirit, and they've been beaten up on. Is there an emphasis in your mind in getting out on them early and not letting them be competitive and not letting them get back into the game because they're not in a good place?
I would say that with any team, I would never, take a team for granted and say their season is how they're going to play. I think Coach Sanchez just said that it's their senior night, so I know for a fact 26 seniors deep, they're not going to go out soft at all.
Tony, what is the past 3 games? Brandon's kind of broken as your big play receiver. What's been the difference past 2 weeks?
Part of it too is just obviously becoming more and more comfortable being a college football player. He's only in the sophomore year right now, missed last season. You see it every day at practice. You see it in the summer, and sometimes it takes a minute for those opportunities to come. I remember being a receiver myself, and it's frustrating at times because you feel like there's opportunities, but you're just part of a big read package. So it's not always going to come to you. I think we've made an emphasis as of late of getting the ball to Brandon, and he's done some amazing things with it. And the more opportunities he gets, the more successful we are on offense. So again, with the evolution of our passing game, guys doing a better job of getting the ball down the field, people loading up the box again to make sure that we can't just run the ball at will on them, has opened up some things in the back end, and Brandon's been a huge factor in that. So we're excited to see what he's done already, and excited to watch him on Friday and moving forward for a long time.
Do you anticipate opponents now trying to maybe to defend them differently, or are they still concerned with what Boyd and Keys can do?
Yeah, I think they're still concerned with all those guys can do. I mean, you see Woods has done lately. You've seen Keys. You've seen Boyd. I mean, now you're starting to see kind of what we had talked about preseason about this, dynamic receiving core, and it causes some issues. But I think defenses are going to do what they do. We'll see. We'll see if they change it up. And New Mexico's a team that likes to play a lot of cover zero, a lot of cover one. They like to load the box and be disruptive to try to load up and stop the run game and put pressure on the quarterback. So if that's the case, then we're going to have to be able to throw the ball down the field to have a chance to win the football game.
Brandon, you find yourself becoming more and more comfortable each week?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I mean, just being more in tune with the quarterbacks week after week and just getting comfortable with the offense and all that and understanding the game plan. I've done a better job this year at watching film on my own and all that, so I get a better understanding of what they're going to run and how our game plan goes up against their defenses.
Do you have a chemistry, not say you don't have a chemistry with Armani, but do you have a really good chemistry with Johnny that helped you a lot too?
Not any different from Armani. I mean, from Johnny and Armani, we all hang out the same, as long with Kurt too, and our redshirt freshman Markel. So I mean, we all hang out like the same amount. So there's no really chemistry difference between any of the quarterbacks that we have.
Go ahead.
Brandon, has it been rewarding to see the growth and maturity of the passing game? I mean, 300-yard passing in last week's game, and guys are taking shots and making plays downfield. I mean, has that been rewarding? Because it hasn't always been there.
Right. It's definitely rewarding, but also what's really ultimately rewarding is just having success, winning games, and being able to have opportunity in games to, perform well. And I think that's just the ultimate goal. And as we've seen, the passing game has helped us win games lately, and it's good to see that. But that's just the ultimate goal, is to be able to make opportunities for us to win games.
What did you learn from sitting out last season, being forced to sit out, and how much hunger did they give you for this season?
Well, last season I was super eager to get out there since I didn't get as much playing time my freshman year. So I was super eager to just get out there. And then when I got hurt, it kind of, tore me down and stuff. And I was like, how is this going to work and all this? But as I got into the off season and I could feel myself getting back into the flow of things, I just knew that I had to grind through the summer and through fall camp and all that. And it was tough, but it was definitely worth it, the sitting out, because I learned a lot from Devontae and Kendall and just all the guys around me. They taught me a lot through that whole entire season, so it was good.
Was there a moment this season where it kind of, I don't know if clicked is the right word, but it was kind of maybe sort of a turning point for you, where you kind of really felt like you go out there and make plays?
I mean, I was just being patient. I knew I was going to get the ball every now and then, and I just had to take advantage of the opportunities that I was given. And I don't think there was really a breaking point. I mean, I've always been here. It was just a matter of time to get the ball in my hands and show everybody what I can do.
You guys have played a couple teams this year that utilize the option offense. What have you learned from those games this season? How can you sort of use that going forward as you plan for New Mexico?
Yeah, it's probably a benefit playing both of them. When you have them both on the rotation at the same time, it's a good thing. Little different versions of the triple, but they have that package in there. They're doing some different things. They play the two different quarterbacks, and they will get into some more spread sets than Air Force would. And they'll throw the ball a little bit more than they would. But again, it's just it's assignment football. I mean, it's the dive, it's the quarterback, the pitch, making sure everybody understands with their different formations and motions and shifts, who's got who on the assignment. So, I think when you looked at the first half of Air Force, it's probably as well as we've played all year for a half of defense. Second half, obviously, we struggled. We have to see that. We have to be able to sustain that disciplined type of football and be able to tackle well. They're going to make us tackle all game. Probably the most difficult thing is they push the ball to the perimeter a lot. You have to do a really, really good job of stretching them, and then the guys in the secondary have to do a phenomenal job of making tackles in space. So I think if we can do that, force them to throw the ball more than they want to. They've turned the ball over quite a bit. So the one thing about that is, that's a huge emphasis. I mean, you look at the Utah State game just a couple weeks ago, and it's a 24-10 game, and that's a game they very easily could have won. I mean, I think they turned the ball over 3 times inside the 20-yard line going in. They moved the ball up and down the field and ended up with 6 or 7 turnovers in that game. So when you're only losing by 14 and you're turning the ball over 6 or 7 times, it tells you about their ability to move the ball. You just got to make sure that you're on that receiving end of winning the turnover battle. You don't want to be the opposite end of it and have them find their way and hold on to the ball. So I think those are going to be big things: tackling in space, being assignment sound on all 3 phases, and turning the ball over.
And for Mike, when you play a team like that, can that we saw the difference in the first half at Air Force between the first half and the second half. Can that wear you guys down, or what can you do to sort of sustain that play, through the second half?
I wouldn't necessarily say wear you down. You just got to stay disciplined. You can't get your eyes here and there and try to make too much happen. You just got to do your job. I know my job mostly would be playing the dive, and then after that, getting to the ball as much as I can to basically be reinforcements for those guys on the perimeter.
Tony, you told me you did Air Force Week where you use a Nerf ball and just concentrate on that assignment, not who has the ball.
Yeah, I mean, we did some of that this week. Yeah, there's some with the ball, and then there are some without it. I think the biggest thing, it kind of goes back to kind of what Mike's question was too, is, when you're playing these type of teams, they're real apt to go for it on 4th downs. I mean, 4th and short. So you've got to win on 1st down. It's huge. One of the biggest things in that second half of the Air Force game was not being able to get off the field in 3rd down. So they sustained drives. You look at this last week against, BYU. Early on in the game, we dominated time of possession, played really well on defense. And then as the game went on, and we weren't playing as well on 3rd downs, and they were extending drives, you saw the game kind of flip. So against these guys, we've got to do a really good job of winning on 1st down, so we don't give them those 3rd and short opportunities where they can't have the option to go for it.
Any health update?
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, Bailey Lolangi is doubtful for the game. Khalili is questionable for the game. Austry's still out. Offensively, nothing's changed from last week.
Same spot, kicking and punting wise as last week.
Yeah, we are right now. Gutierrez did a better job today. He's got a little bit more bang on the ball, so that was good to see. He's just got to have a level of comfort where he feels like he can do it. The last couple of weeks he's felt like he couldn't do it. Pan tells, and we got to punt the ball better. I mean, when we do punt, it's atrocious right now. I mean, it really hurts. I mean, when you have an opportunity to flip the field, you got to flip the field, and we haven't been able to do that. So we know Evan's more than capable of it. We saw him do it last year. He's just got to settle down a bit. And again, it's not always going to be perfect. And having a couple 1st downs and getting to midfield and punting the ball is not a bad thing. But we've got to be more productive than a 31-yard average.
Is his health back to 100%, close to 100%?
He's close to it. He's probably about 90% now. I mean, he looked good today. Today's probably the best he looked punting the football in practice, so it's good to see. In those positions, it's kind of like a golf swing. It's so much, the 6 inches in between your ears. It's just, you have to be confident. You got to have your timing right. You got to do a great job with your ball drops and placements. And but if you're thinking about all those things at once, you end up like Tin Cup in the, sitting there in the RV with all that gadgets on, right? So we got to get rid of some of that stuff and just go play.
When the kicking and the punting game is going through something like they are right now, does that affect how you want to approach it on offense in terms of where you are on the field, 3rd down, 4th down, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, well, early in the year, we're a lot more aggressive when it comes to kicking field goals from deeper out. Now we're a lot more aggressive, go for it on 4th down. So, we'll see how it evolves. I mean, we have to have confidence that they can make it. We tried, at field goal last week, and it was probably right at the edge of Evans, level of comfort right now, and he could have put a better kick on it, but that's kind of where we're at. So those are, to me, are 50-50 shots. If you're sitting there at that same situation and you have a 4th and 1, we're probably going for it. If it's 4th and 2, probably going for it. 4th and longer than 3, then you're probably going to kick it, but they're 50-50 spots right there.